Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight series. My name is Claudia Thompson, and today I'm here with James McComish, who is the Managing Director at McComish Insurance Brokers and has been for the last 13 years. Welcome to the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, definitely. So I sort of went to university and sort of actually did something very different to insurance. Actually, did aerospace engineering, which was because I wanted to go sort of NASA or ESA, that sort of approach, really. Unfortunately, didn't quite work out. The sort of the course changed halfway through, so yeah, it wasn't quite where it was I wanted to go. So I still completed a degree and everything. And then I wasn't quite sure what to do. So my dad actually had a brokerage. So he said I could go on to there. So I actually did that and decided to get qualified straight away as quickly as I could. So I managed to sort of get to associate qualification 2.5 years, which was really good. And normally it takes sort of 5 years minimum. So that went a lot better than expected. Um, and then my dad sold out to a larger organization around 2003. And so we were there. And but the larger organization was quite corporate. And in 2010, there was sort of change in MD, and I wasn't quite on the same wavelength as him. And I felt just that clients become a bit more like figures on spreadsheets rather than having and losing that personal touch as a result, and which wasn't quite where I saw myself really. So I then decided to start looking at other opportunities, and one of the owners of a local insurance broker approached me and gave me the opportunity. Said, well, look, you can be part of our group effectively, and I will give you initial funding to get going, but it's your company, you're fully autonomous, and you sort of run it as you want. And so I decided, I thought, actually, that sounds ideal. So I went down that approach then. And so we opened the doors 1st of November 2010. So which was
Fantastic. So
great.
you followed your heart and you knew that the last managing director you had was not in the same area or as
Yeah, I think it
interested
was
as you were.
mindset as well, I think, because I try to be quite positive really most of the
Yeah.
time. And the the company was at, it's quite a big organization we're part of, and the actual office was in the top five of the whole organization for virtually everything, and we were doing really well. You had like 40, 50 staff, nobody ever left, everybody just got on and it just worked. But unfortunately, when he came in, he said, okay, well, ignore that. You are failing on this, 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 and this. And then it just upset everybody, and
Mm.
everybody, quite a few people started leaving then. And yeah, it was, I think, realized, yeah, it wasn't quite the energy and where I wanted it to be. So yeah,
So you've followed your own path, and
yes.
here we are 13 years later.
Yep.
What is your secret to still going after 13 years?
Yeah, it's self-belief, I think. Believing that you can do it really, and sort of I have never give up attitude as well, which was sort of probably strengthened as well because well, I'm 21, unfortunately went down with COVID and was in hospital for a couple of weeks and was on a ventilator and all that side of things. So I'm normally quite fit, active, and went from running like 10 miles without a problem to not being able to walk. So I had to learn to walk again. And I then decided I was going to get out of hospital as soon as I could. So I kept pushing and pushing and got out of the hospital weeks before they expected, and actually I set myself a target of running London Marathon last year to raise money for the intensive care units that kept me alive really. So
Mm.
that was my goal. So within 18 months I managed to do that and complete that. So but I was always very strong-willed before, but following that it was like I went super focused really, and whatever I put my mind to I will do. And I think and you need that in a business, I think, and just to have, okay, have that focus as where you see yourself wanting to go, and just follow that and not get distracted, and just keep persevering and believe that you can achieve your goals really. I think that's probably the secret of it. Just where there's a will, there's a way really.
Yeah. Wow, thank you for sharing that. And that's certainly puts things into perspective as well, um, for running a business. And what do you think have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you started?
I think from the employer, I'm still learning and learning every day, I think. And I've always had the approach of being quite more of an open, collaborative approach, I suppose. And I think I've realized though it can have its strengths and be very good, it can also have its downfalls at times. And sometimes it's, as much as we like it all to be a democracy, it can't be. And you're the one that's got that vision, and you're the one that makes that happen. No matter who you employ, you will always have more passion for your own business. So it's more just to think of that. You're the one that drives it. So, but with staff, it's get good people around you and do research as well, because even if on paper they seem really good and ideal, and we've caught cold a couple of times on this. It's logic. It suggests, okay, if we employ that person, it will push our company to X. But reality was on one particular person, they weren't at all as what was advertised, and it created a lot of disharmony, and it actually cost the company quite a bit of money as a result of that. So we're fine. We could sort of overcome that obstacle, but it is interesting how really your head overruled your heart on that one, because logic suggested yeah, perfect. But you always had that niggling thought, and yeah, so I would do that. Get good people around you, but do your research. Make sure that person is going to fit what you can do. Some of the things we've done is we do like motivational mapping, whereby the sort of new employees do a questionnaire. From that questionnaire, you then get a better idea as to what make up that person. So, for example, in my company, we're very, very technical, very detailed. And that was when I started the company, I wanted to have that identity of being known to be very technical, being the expert in our field, really. And so the people I've employed subscribe to that. So I think motivational mapping helps you build a team which has got like-minded as you, and therefore if you're very like-minded with everybody, you sing from the same hymn sheet, and then you come together and you've got the same beliefs, and also the same way of doing things, same way of treating customers as well. Because sometimes if you very different approach, it can alienate people if you're doing things that other people wouldn't necessarily agree with. And I think that's important. Yeah, just getting people a bit more of the same thought process and that behind you. But yes, but don't just jump in. Yeah, is my
So
biggest
get
learning, I think.
really clear about who you need to fill that
Yes.
role, and then make sure they're on the same level,
Yep.
not necessarily just on a skill level, but also a motivational
Yes.
level.
Yep. No, definitely. So,
Right. Now I'm curious, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And
um,
what advice would you give to any business owner who's looking to grow?
okay. We grow each year, but I would like to try and push on a bit more. So I'd like to try and double the company in 5 years, really. That's where I would like to see ourselves. In terms of advice, the key bit is really, and this is where the group I'm linked to helps with this, is to have an accountability partner. It can be a very lonely experience, I think, particularly when starting up and growing the business. And sometimes having an accountability partner, so somebody who you can bounce ideas off, but also keep you in check with, it just helps again with going back to the focus side of things. I think that's really the important bit. If you know you have got a meeting coming up, then it keeps you. Yeah, in fact, you're not going to get distracted by things really. So I would do that, and even get a business coach can work as well on that side. So just you need another person to bounce things off really. So that's
Yeah,
what I think.
because they
Right.
get you to do the things that you maybe wouldn't naturally be drawn to.
Yes, and yeah, and we'll also challenge certain things, and quite often they will have a lot of experience themselves, so they will have come across obstacles which you might not have come for, and therefore they will help see the wood before the trees, that sort of thing. So I'll be able to yeah, let's give you a better perspective of the situation, I think. So that's what I would recommend, and that I found that's been very helpful. And but as you say, also do the things that well, you feel you're forced to do the things you don't necessarily want to do, but it's for the good of the business.
Yeah. Speaking of the things that might not come naturally to some people, a lot of business owners that I speak to, they say they're not good at finances. They don't like to look at the numbers. What advice would you give to a business owner regarding financial management?
In terms of financial management, I'm always not been too bad with understanding statements, P&L account, that side of things. One thing I set out when I first started with sort of the business partner was I was cautious when we started. I didn't want to just blow lots of money on advertising and sponsorship and everything else. I actually got written within the shareholders agreement that we could only take dividends if there was X number of shareholder funds within the business. So I wanted two things: one, to protect the business. So in the event there's a rainy day, and I think COVID affected was rainy day for most people, I think. But also it was to build up that fund. So should there be an opportunity that suddenly arises and you need to move quickly to, then you've got that funding there to actually, I can use that to actually go and do that, and that will help. But so two things, yeah, to be cautious, particularly when you start out, about throwing lots of money on advertising. If you're good at what you do, you get most of your business from recommendations, from referrals, and that's where most of your business will come from, really. So yeah, it's more to do with that. But again, if you do get a business coach, they can help you on the finance as well and give you some pointers. But I think it's, yeah, just because you might have loans or grants, just don't think you have to spend it all in one go. You're no longer a student at university. So, yes, I think it's more just, yeah, be cautious, that look at long-term picture really more than anything.
Okay. Don't get carried away and spend it
Yes.
all. Fantastic. And on the back of that, is there anything that you would do differently now if you had to start from square one in business?
Yes, I would, because networking is out of my comfort zone, really. We're quite, I suppose, quite introverted at times, but I find networking is a good way to do two things. You've got other ideas that people will come across, or issues they might have maybe with employees, which they will share with the group, so it's quite a good experience gathering exercise. And also it helps obviously showcase what you do as well. So I think I would have done more networking. Social media I would have got more on top of as well, because that's I think, whether it's a mistake or not, I think with LinkedIn, when I first started on that, I treated that a little bit like Facebook, I suppose. So you put all your friends, on there, which also happen to be lots of other rival brokers, which is so you also got share, and then when you got your customers on there, you're sharing your customers with your competitors, really. So I think it's I need to probably cleanse that a little bit. Okay, but yeah, I think it's, yeah, in terms of redoing again, I would probably be a little bit more focused on certain industries as well. And so when I first started, as you do, you obviously a bit more of a scattergun approach. You're just trying to grow the business as quickly as you can. I think long term, if you can become very, very niche in something, then I think you can build particular schemes around that. That probably I would have looked at that to begin with. I have tried since then a few bits and pieces and that, but I think I would have focused on that a little bit more, I think, really. So, and just trying to think, I probably would have brought in more of a support structure earlier, because even though in the first couple of years when you're growing the business, obviously you haven't got existing clients renewals to deal with as much at that point. So all your time and energy is going into new business. But once I've built up my client base, your time then gets absorbed, obviously, dealing with that, and you need time to also work on the business and grow the business as well. So I would have brought in the support structure probably a few years earlier, or a couple of years earlier, just to free my time up again. And we're trying to do that now, and it is working. We're sort of be able to grow the business, but it's it's something you don't think of. And when you first start, obviously, but that's what advice I would give. So just time is time management is your key, really. If you can manage your time and create time, then you will continue to grow. So.
Yeah, fantastic. So niche down sooner,
Yeah.
find time to work on the business in order to free up your time,
Yeah.
and don't add your friends on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Fantastic. What do you think are some common misconceptions that people have about being in business?
I think the biggest one is that you have to do it on your own, and it's a show of weakness if you're then asking for advice from others. And I think that's probably the biggest misconception. And it isn't. People, unless they're your arch rival, happy to see you grow and happy to work with you and everything else. So, and that's where business coach and that can come in. So don't be afraid to ask for help, I think, because not everybody knows everything. And well, everybody doesn't know everything, but there's experience you can call upon which is there, and don't be afraid to. I think that was that one, main one, really. So
fantastic. That wraps up our interview. How can
okay.
people find out more about you, and how can they get in touch?
Yes, so we've got a website which is www.mccib.co.uk, or by all means email me. My email address is james@mccib.co.uk, or phone us, which numbers on the website and everything else, and find me on LinkedIn as well.
Unless you're a friend.
So, of course. So
Thank you
yes,
so much for your time today, James.
that's okay. No worries.
Thank you.